Hey guys, MegaMet1254 here again. Welcome back to another episode of MGM Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing The Crafting Dead Season 2 as a whole. And this show is done by my good friend Jamie Minecraft. I have actually reviewed this show on the channel before. I reviewed Season 1 in individual episodes format. But due to Season 2 having delays and all that stuff, I figured I would just wait for the whole season to release. And then I would review the whole season as is. Now keep in mind guys, I have been featured on this show in an episode, but I'm not gonna let my behind the scenes access and all that change my opinions on the show. I am going to be reviewing this as a viewer just because I want to deliver a review to where the viewers can decide what they want to think about the show. So yeah guys, I'll be reviewing this from a viewer's perspective. But with that being said and done guys, let's get straight into the review. I did think this was a decent season of the show. I thought episode 1 was easily the best episode of the season. I don't know, something about that episode was great. I loved the claustrophobic vibe it gave off, and basically them having to escape or they'll freeze to death inside the inside, I think it was a bar or restaurant, I believe. And basically the other half of this episode, we have Tom and Tyrone who are back at the ranch, and they're waiting for Jamie and Mordecai and all them to get back, and basically they're not coming back. They're stuck in this place. So Tom and Tyrone actually go out and look for them to save them, and they do get to them in time, obviously, before they would all have died of frostbite and starvation and all that nasty stuff. And we actually have the death of Tyrone in this episode. There is a sequence where they're crossing a frozen lake, which is easily one of my favorite scenes from the whole series. I do love the suspense of this scene. And well, for Tyrone, I'm just gonna say it, he was unlucky as fuck, and basically the ice broke on him and he took a little swim in the lake. Yeah, so that's it for Tyrone. Tyrone is dead, and they make it back to the ranch, and that's the end of episode 1. Episode 2, I am very conflicted on episode 2 guys, and it's simply because the majority of this episode, right, we're at a funeral, right, I actually don't mind the funeral scene. It's them saying goodbye to Tyrone and, paying their respects to their former friend. And basically Herschel Jr. is acting like an asshole during the funeral, right? He's like, yeah, who cares about him anyway, right? And basically, after the funeral scene is said and done, we see Herschel Jr. playing with a walker in the pit, right? And Mordecai comes up to him and he's like, listen, what did I tell you about the walkers? They're not safe to be around. You're gonna get, more than one of us killed if you keep screwing around with the walkers, right? So basically, Mordecai drags Herschel Jr. to the walker pit, and he basically accidentally gets Herschel Jr. killed. And I'm like, Mordecai, what the actual fuck, dude? Now, I get that Herschel Jr. might have been a threat. I do get that. Maybe Mordecai is in the right for this. I don't know. But I just don't see the morality in the scene. I know it's an accident and all. It's just I don't think Mordecai would have been that stupid to have put Herschel Jr.'s life at risk like that, and he actually kills him. And then he's he just puts him down in the woods after. He don't even tell Tom or anyone. And I'm like, Mordecai, what the actual fuck, man? It's such a dark scene for Mordecai. He straight up kills a kid by accident, but then afterwards he just puts him down, and it's really cold, really I don't know how to word it, just very, I guess, kind of evil in a way. But yeah, so that's episode 2. It's a decent episode with some weird Mordecai choices, I guess I would say. 3, another decent episode of the show. This episode starts off where we left off. We see the death of Herschel Jr. again. And then basically we have the funeral for Herschel Jr. And this scene, this scene infuriated me. When Mordecai basically like beats up Tom at his brother's funeral, and he's like, yeah, it's your fault he's dead, like, what do you know about family? And basically they fight, and like at this point I'm fed up with Mordecai. Like, I'm like, Mordecai, can you just like piss off, dude? Like, what are you doing, man? And then Tom leaves the group, and we have a scene where they're basically discussing his disappearance, right? And then we have a teaser to the main threat of the finale, which are the bandits, played by yours truly, of course. And, well, that's the episode, guys. Like, we have the funeral, we have another funeral scene, and then we have Tom and the Mordecai fight. Tom leaves, and then we get the threat for next episode. And then we have one more scene, and this scene's actually really cool. It's when Tom is in the blizzard in the woods, and he's killing, he's basically breaking the walker heads, the shattered walker, the frozen walker heads. So yeah, guys, that's episode 3. It's a decent episode of the show, but it has its flaws, but it does have its good moments too. And then we have episode 4, A Red Christmas. Also is the season 2 finale, by the way, guys. And yeah, it's a pretty good finale, not gonna lie. It has, you know, we have the bandits. We have Mordecai, actually, at the beginning. He's dressed as Santa Claus, and he's giving gifts out around the ranch. And it's just, I guess it's a little weird, just because Mordecai, you know, he did all this awful stuff a few episodes ago, and now he's like, oh yeah, happy, cheery Christmas Santa guy. And I'm like, okay, then, that's quite the change. And then we have the bandits who show up, and we have them, like, face off outside the ranch. Tom basically comes out, and he's like, get the F, like, off my property, right? And, they basically get very offended by that, and they're like, yeah, if you don't let us stay, we're just gonna, like, end up killing you and taking your property anyway. So, they have a dispute about it, bandits leave, and this leads into the next sequence, which I like to call the Home Alone sequence. And instead of the traps that are thwarting the bandits, it's our characters slowly picking them off one by one. And I actually did like this sequence. Like, you see the bandits getting killed off one by one. And then we get to the main climax, and we find out that one of the, like, bandits had actually killed Megan and Scar. Now, the only gripe with this scene that I have is that those two characters, they died off screen. I just wish there was a way that they could have shown that on screen somehow. But yeah, guys, it's only a minor nitpick I have. And basically, the final bandit is killed off in the house fire, and Jamie and his crew are forced to leave. And that's season 2, guys. So overall, it's a decent season of The Crafting Dead. I am very, very hyped to see how we get into season 3, and basically where our characters will be going forward with all this, because now their home is gone, and, like, you know, they just lost, like, integral group members that, like, mattered a lot to them. So yeah, guys, season 3 hopefully should be coming out soon. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be putting my verdict up on the screen real quick. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Classic.